Servus and welcome to Austrians in Silicon Valley, Open Austria's new social media series to showcase members of our community in the San Francisco Bay Area. My name is Kylee Mebust, and today I'm joined by Patricia Bubner. Patricia is the co-founder and CEO of Orbillion, a food tech company focused on bringing healthy, ethical, and flavorful meat to the consumer market with a new farm-to-table story. She is also an advisor and consultant for a variety of scientific food organizations. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Kylie. It's my absolute pleasure, and what a fantastic setup you have here.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very excited about our little...
So professional.
Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to ask you about your professional life with Orbillion. So could you tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind this company?
Yeah, of course. So, I was always passionate about food. From my childhood on, where I grew up in Austria in a city, but still at the interface to the rural settings, and having a family history also of farmers on one side of my family. And I actually learned how to milk a cow when I was 6 years old. We also grew our own food, so there was a strong connection on where the food comes from. And to this day, my parents get their meat, if it's lamb, from the same farmer that they did when I was a kid, which was not such a long time ago. And so this connection to food, and also my really strong interest in science, I kind of merged that together. Even when I was a teenager, I was like, I want to know how we can create flavor and nutritious food from scratch, like from molecular scratch. And then I had chemistry in school, and that all made sense to me. And I was like, I want to make food using chemistry. At that time, that wasn't that popular, and chemistry kind of had a bad name, and unfortunately still has. And I still, have my debates against that, because it really is about how you use it, right? Mm-hmm. And I decided to study chemistry with the goal really to get into food chemistry. And how life goes, chemistry overall is a super interesting field. I studied chemical engineering or technical chemistry at TU Graz, fantastic school, and did also a year abroad in the US in Montclair with the exchange scholarship of the Graz-Montclair City partnership, where I got some first cell culture classes, and that's what Obillion is now all about. So with all that, that combined interest really brought me, after my postdoc at UC Berkeley, back to food. And during my postdoc, I already started a little bit of a food project, including product development and also involving biodiversity and crops for droughted regions, so climate change and food in a broader sense. And I was really interested in it. And at that time, when I was at UC Berkeley, the whole alternative protein movement came up. And I just knew when I heard about cell-cultured meat, that's what I want to do. And so I tried to learn more about that field and found out that there are, in fact, a lot of gaps. And together with my now co-founders that were co-workers of mine previously during my postdoc at UC Berkeley and then during my time in biopharma, we talked about what we identified as gaps, both on the technological side, but also on the consumer side. And we got pretty agitated about it. And then we're like, wait, the ideas that we have, they aren't so bad. Maybe, no, we have to make a company out of this. And so I started scouting for technologies that can close that technology gap. We found the technology, licensed it. By the way, it is from Austria. And we started Obillion based on first that one technology, and then added on a couple of more kind of technology bricks on that. And the rest is so far recent history.
Well, that is a very Silicon Valley story, just talking with friends and realizing, hey, we could fix this problem. So that's really exciting. And so there are two other co-founders, but you are the CEO. So tell me a little bit more about what that's like, being the CEO.
Sounds great, but the way I understand it is always like, I need to make sure that everyone else in the company has the resources to do their job, right? So whatever it is that they need to do their job properly, I'll get them. first of all, that's of course money, but then there's a lot of other things, right? For example, might be something as simple as setting up their computer, because I'm also the head of IT, which is awesome.
Nice, wow.
So you are
Many
whatever
hats.
you need. Exactly. Which is fun, and the more people you hire, the more of these things you get to delegate in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it's interesting. You delegate things and the work still doesn't get less. So it's been a very interesting journey, and I'm just very grateful that we as a company have been able to make it as far as we have so far, and we're looking forward to the next couple of years. And as a CEO, of course, the important thing I think is to have the vision, and that's not something very abstract for me, because I always had this drive to combine science and technology with my interest in food to really make food from scratch. So my vision for cell cultivated meat is really not only to try to replicate things that are already there, but to generate an entire new class of food that hasn't been there yet. Pretty much imagine what people thought about cheese before there was cheese. Something like that.
Oh wow, that is a very different world, it seems like. And it sounds like this vision and your journey has really been impacted by your history in Austria. So being this is Austrians in Silicon Valley, can you tell me a little bit more about how your Austrian background has affected your path here?
Yeah, I think one thing is that in Austria we are still extremely lucky to have a quite local food system. Of course, there are things and a lot of foods that we have to import because avocados just don't grow that well in Austria, right? And we like avocados, at least the one type of avocado that you can get in Austria. Okay, I'll stop here. But anyway, we have a pretty local food system. Farmers markets is something that people are used to go to, and that is something that is a huge, huge benefit that a lot of people do not have in this world. And when I came to the US, I realized that there are food deserts, meaning regions where you just cannot get healthy, fresh, delicious food, and you have to live off of the few fast food things that you can get, and that's a little bit sad. Actually, when I come back to Austria, that's one of the major things that I'm looking forward is to getting fresh and local food. So that is one part. The other part is that the history of Austria is very much rooted in and combined with science and technology. When we look back on all these fantastic people that have done research in Austria and that Austria brought, right, we have this history, and having these excellent institutions in basic research that you can study for free definitely gave me a head start.
That's fair. Oh man, but I love that you also came to Berkeley, because I'm also a Berkeley alum, so go Bears.
Absolutely, go Bears.
And thank you so much for joining us here today on Austrians in Silicon Valley. We'll
My
see you all
pleasure.
next time. Cheers!